One of the very first things that I think is really important in investing in is investing in gaining clarity in what you do. Because if we don't have clarity in what we actually do, and I think here's where if we don't get clarity in what we actually do, we can do all the marketing, we can do all the strategies, we can hire the experts, but it's almost like leading the ship with the wrong, the wrong direction, if that makes sense. So having clarity and investing in having clarity in what you do is like the top of the list, okay? Because again, you can start going down all of these different strategies and all of a sudden you realize, wait, actually, that's not what I do. And so when I ask you, write me in the comments, what do you do? Very often, this is what I'll see people say. They talk about the trainings they've done. They've talked about the gurus they've studied with. They talk about their certifications. They talk about their credentials. They talk about the work they're doing. And that's great. But here's a problem with that, is that your clients, the people who are going to hire you, the people who are going to invest in your services, won't really understand that you're the healer, the transformational coach, the wellness coach, whatever you want to call yourself. Actually, honestly, it doesn't really matter, because if your clients don't understand, what you do and you're for them, they will, they might hear your title and be like, "Ooh, that's kind of exciting," but they won't understand the transformation you offer. So I'll give you an example. I have one client who, she's a music therapist. And so I asked her, so what do you do? She said, I'm a music therapist, very much like sound healing, but not really sound healing. And it also, addresses this and this. And she listed all of the things that it doesn't do and it does do. And that's great. But the thing is, her clients won't, and because I'm in the industry, I understand, but her clients won't really understand, okay, so can you solve the pain that I'm going through? Because that's usually where your clients are coming from. They have this place of pain that they're in. They have this before, and then they're looking for this after. So what you want to start to invest in is starting to understand clarity of what is the life-altering transformation that you offer, right? And so for her, we start to realize, based on a process that I bring our clients through, and what one of my teachers taught me, Gita Nadkarni, is what is their deepest pain, right? And where do they want to go? What is their bliss? And it's mixed in with a process that I've also done. And also, what is your own hero's journey? What is your personal journey? What was the before? Because we all got into this in this place because we brought ourselves through some kind of journey, right? And so what we start to realize when we really look closer into the deep process that I take our clients through, she started to realize, okay, my people are people who are hypersensitive, they're highly sensitive beings. And actually, they're highly sensitive beings who are introverts and extroverts. And I realized, even when she was telling me that, I'm like, oh my God, that's me. She started telling me like, yeah, I was at this, conference and I really loved it, but my nervous system was like jacked up. So what we realized as we went deeper and I started bringing her to the process is that her people are highly sensitive people. And what she does is she starts to regulate their nervous system so that it's not on high alert all the time and it doesn't have these highs and these lows and these highs and these lows. And so she teaches that to her people. So those, highly sensitive people that have a hard time, being out in the world, doing, their day-to-day, doing their work, being out in public, which is kind of what all of us have to do, is how to regulate that nervous system so the nervous system can be with a lot of people and at the same time be in that place where, when the nervous system has sort of been overloaded with information, can kind of come down and have tools and assets. So the before and after is this highly sensitive person with a nervous system that is like on high alert to learning how to regulate that so that it's not this roller coaster ride. And so when you start to speak from that place, and she can speak very deeply because she's been in that place, and it starts to cut out of the, you know, the superficial, because sometimes the superficial, when you're saying things like, I'm a music therapist, I do sound healing, it sounds great, but still that person who's experiencing this very specific experience in their life journey, like being this highly sensitive person, sometimes they don't even realize that they're a highly sensitive person. And even working with her, I realize, wow, I'm one of those people. I'm a highly sensitive person that loves to be introverted and extroverted. And so it's like you start to teach your clients who they are on a deeper level, and maybe even what they didn't even realize, based on your own experience, with your own experience, because obviously if there are you out there, there are other people like you out there, and your clients will naturally magnetize towards you. Do you see? So investment number one is gaining clarity on what you really do, not just, you know, sort of this sort of superficial title. And to be honest, nobody really cares about your title. You know, all my teachers, they don't necessarily have a title. All I know is that I had a deep pain and they brought me through this life-altering transformation at the end of it. And they have their certain tools, so don't confuse your toolbox, right, with what you do. And I think that's where a lot of us in the healing world, we kind of, we keep on filling up our toolbox, thinking that filling up the toolbox will cure our, you know, bank account blues, right? And like I said, it's like, it's kind of like wanting to build a house, but taking a tent course, right? Taking the healing course will solve your business, you know, knowledge. And that's where I am seeing a lot of investment there, and then no investment in the kind of the clarity, the business strategies, the marketing, and the selling of your business, right? Because if people don't really understand what you do, then it's very hard to get soulmate clients that you really align with, right? And it, not just sort of these people who are dabbling or kind of are curious or are not completely invested. When you can speak on that deep level to their pain and where they want to go, and from this place of actual real life stories, that's where your clients are like, oh, she is the one for me.